Interesting times for the headlines. The Philippine National Police forms 105 special teams that will pursue complaints of vote buying and selling. The United States announces the deployment of an amphibious assault ship and a Patriot missile battery to bolster an aircraft carrier and B-52 bombers already sent to the Gulf, ratcheting up pressure on arch-foe Iran. Anger over Hong Kong's controversial plans to allow extraditions to the Chinese mainland and boiled over in the city's legislature on Saturday as rival lawmakers scuffled with each other in chaotic scenes. And U.S. President Donald Trump cranked up the heat in a trade battle with China, ordering a tariff hike on almost all remaining imports from the world's second biggest economy. But Beijing said talks would continue to resolve the row. I'm Alma Angeles, wherever you're watching from around the world. Thank you very much for joining us, and now to the news. The Philippine National Police formed 105 special teams to look into complaints of vote buying and selling. PNP Operations Director Major General Mao Asplaza said the special teams are dedicated to addressing the vote buying concerns. This developed as the Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission asked the COMELEC to investigate 15 incidents of vote buying reported to the agency. Task Force Chief John Rex Laudianco said they have already docketed 10 cases of vote buying.
We cannot say without having the cases filed yet na lumalaga. But the reports are coming in and we have to take in seriously these reports. Hindi naman po kasi pwedeng maghihintay na lang kami. At ang kagandahan nga po sa ating gobyerno ngayon, we're proactive in all of this na ina-actionan po kahit reports pa lang.
But to reiterate the strong message of the COMELEC that this time we will take vote buying very seriously. That's why they have issued this resolution. And in behalf of the Chief PIP, General Abialde, and our Task Force Commander, General Gamboa, we are also sending this strong message to those who are planning to buy and sell their votes na gagawin namin lahat, and wag na silang mag-attempt because we will be very serious in this campaign.
All right, now citizens are asked to report any vote buying incidents to Globe number 0916-3309158. Smart number is 0947-5207864. In other news, anger over Hong Kong's controversial plans to allow extraditions to the Chinese mainland boiled over in the city's legislature on Saturday as rival lawmakers scuffled with each other in chaotic scenes. Take a look. The legislative meeting on the government's disputed extradition bill was originally chaired by pro-democracy lawmaker James To. But the pro-Beijing camp earlier this week forcibly unseated To and replaced him with their choice of chairman, Abraham Sheikh. Now, rancor between the two political camps exploded, with rival lawmakers shouting and tussling amidst a dense pack of reporters as pro-democracy lawmakers tried to seize the microphone and stop their counterparts in the legislature from controlling the meeting. Hong Kong's government is pushing a bill through the city's legislature which would allow case-by-case extraditions to any jurisdictions it doesn't have an already agreed treaty with, including mainland China, Macau, and Taiwan. Now, the plan has sparked huge protests and mounting alarm within the city's business and legal communities, as well as foreign governments, who fear it will hammer the semi-autonomous financial hub's international appeal and tangle people up in China's court system. Historically, Hong Kong has balked at mainland extraditions because of the opacity of China's criminal justice system and its liberal use of the death penalty. Tens of thousands of people hit the streets last month to protest against the bill. In other news, North Korean missile launches over the past week have not affected Donald Trump's relationship with Kim Jong-un, the U.S. president said Friday, in a change of course after initially expressing his dissatisfaction. Now, Pyongyang fired 2 short-range missiles Thursday following an earlier drill the previous Saturday, the first in 18 months. The North had not launched any missiles since November 2017, shortly before once reclusive Kim embarked on diplomatic overtures. I don't consider that a breach of trust at all, and you know, at some point I may, but at this point, no, Trump said in an interview with Politico. These were short-range missiles and very standard stuff. Very standard. 24 hours earlier, however, Trump showed his irritation and impatience on an issue where he hopes to succeed while all his predecessors, Republicans and Democrats, have failed.
Well, we're looking at it very seriously right now. They were smaller missiles, short-range missiles. Nobody's happy about it, but we're taking a good look, and we'll see. We'll see. The relationship continues. But we'll see what happens. I know they want to negotiate. They're talking about negotiating, but I don't think they're ready to negotiate.
Now, will the U.S. president at some point lose faith in Kim? He has met twice with the North Korean leader and claimed that the two have a special friendship and even love. Now, Trump said, quote, "I mean, it's possible that at some point I will, but right now, not at all." The United States is deploying an amphibious assault ship and a Patriot missile battery to bolster an aircraft carrier and B-52 bombers already sent to the Gulf, ratcheting up pressure Saturday on archfoe Iran. In response to alleged threats from Iran, the USS Arlington, which transports Marines, amphibious vehicles, conventional landing craft, and rotary aircraft, and the Patriot Air Defense System, will join the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Group, according to the Pentagon. The carrier and a B-52 bomber task force were ordered towards the Gulf, as Washington reiterated that intelligence reports suggested Iran was planning some sort of attack in the region. CENTCOM, the U.S. Forces for the Middle East and Afghanistan, said on Twitter that the B-52 bombers arrived at the area of operations on May 8, without saying where they had landed. U.S. President Donald Trump's National Security Advisor, John Bolton, has said the deployment aimed to send a clear and unmistakable message to Iran about any attack against the U.S. or its partners in the region. The increasing tensions come as Tehran said Wednesday it had stopped respecting limits on its nuclear activities agreed under a 2015 deal with major powers. Iran said it was responding to the sweeping unilateral sanctions that Washington has reimposed since it quit the agreement 1 year ago, which have dealt a severe blow to the Iranian economy. Amid the rising tensions, Trump said Thursday he was still open to talks with Tehran's leadership.
We have one of the most powerful ships in the world that's loaded up, and we don't want to have to do anything. What I'd like to see with Iran, I'd like to see them call me. You know, John Kerry speaks to them a lot. John Kerry tells them not to call. That's a violation of the Logan Act. And frankly, he should be prosecuted on that. But my people don't want to do anything that's... Only the Democrats do that kind of stuff.
In other news, more than 100 inmates escaped from an Indonesian jail on Sumatra Island on Saturday in the latest breakout to hit the country's creaking prison system. The prisoners fled jail in Siak district on Sumatra Island early in the morning after rioting and a fire broke out at the detention center. Footage on local TV stations showed the facility engulfed in flames. Authorities launched a massive manhunt and 115 prisoners had been recaptured by late morning, according to Riau Province Police Chief Widodo Eko Prihastopo. Dozens of detainees from a prison population of nearly 650 remained at large. Police said the rioting was triggered after guards beat several inmates who were caught using methamphetamine. 3 detainees suffered stab wounds and a policeman was shot during the rioting. Nearly 900 youngsters have been released by a pro-government armed group in northeast Nigeria. The development on Friday has been welcomed by UN Children's Fund or UNICEF, which warned that those freed will need long-term help if they are to lead a normal life. Here's UNICEF's spokesperson, Christophe Bulirach.
Today, 894 children, including 106 girls, were released from the ranks of an armed group called Civilian Joint Task Force in Maiduguri, northeast Nigeria, as part of this group's commitment to end and prevent the recruitment and use of children. The children and young people released today will benefit from reintegration programs to help them return to civilian life and seize new opportunities for their own development. Without this support, many of the children released from armed groups struggle to fit into civilian life, as most are not educated and have no vocational skills. So far, at least 9,800 people formerly associated with armed groups, as well as vulnerable children in communities, have accessed such services between 2017 and 2018.
Of the 894 children released in Maiduguri, 106 were girls. They were all recruited by the Civilian Joint Task Force, or CJTF, which committed to ending the practice last September under a UN-led action plan. Since that deal was signed, more than 1,700 children and young people have been released. And the news continues here on Eagle News International. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. South Africa headed to the polls in a general election on Wednesday. The party of Nelson Mandela, the African National Congress or ANC, has dominated the political life of this nation for the past 25 years, with voters repeatedly backing the organization that ended the apartheid regime. As our EBC correspondent Priscilla Chulo reports, some voters are now ready for change.
It's the day South Africans have been waiting for. For more than 2 decades, the African National Congress, or ANC, has been the ruling party of the country. But over the past few years, many have been calling for a change.
South Africans are ready to vote, and here in the Free State, there are plenty of parties to choose from. In recent years, the Democratic Alliance, or DA, has become a major challenger in key areas across the nation, while the Economic Freedom Fighters, or EFF, has made arguably the most noise on the political and international stage, with its generous promises and extreme calls for change, like taking back farmland without compensating the current owners. The DA and the EFF have pounced on the ANC's recent disappointments and failures.
Yeah, well, we are hoping for the best, because it's been some times now, looking for some changes, I hope these elections bring changes that we've been waiting for so long, We know that there have been some changes, but, there's not enough changes, but hopefully this time, because this is a new dawn, we are hoping for bigger change than what we have seen before. That's basically what we are looking for this election. Hopefully, political parties will deliver that. It's an open secret now. ANC has done so much. But you see, as we all know, that it's never enough. I think during the course of the time, ANC will deliver massively. But hopefully this time, we will see the changes. I'm a staunch member of African National Congress, member of in good standing, and today I'm going to cast my vote in ANC because this is ANC government. I want to do anything. I'm going to cast my vote ANC. I want change party. ANC is my party. ANC today, ANC tomorrow, ANC forever.
These elections, I hope for some other people to have their home. There are so many people who doesn't have their home. They don't have. We don't work, and other people the children. They are not working. They go to school, but when supposed to work, there's nothing. So I think maybe this time they will hear our voices. I still do. I still have them that faith in them, but I hope they don't disappoint us. As you can look at the street now, there's no pavement, there's no craft, there's no home. There are other people there. They don't have home. You can't live in a shack for your whole life. They have to have a better home where they can always be safe. That side is not safe, even at night. They are not safe at all.
Though the ANC has been racked with accusations of corruption, headlining scandals of former President Jacob Zuma, and on many times has failed to deliver services to citizens, many South Africans remain loyal to the party they marched with to freedom.
Do you think the ANC will hold on to their power after this election?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they already made it. Yeah. I think they can make it still, yes. Yeah.
I'm looking for, after the voting, we should have better things. We are expecting better things from any party that will win.
What party are you hoping to win?
I can't say, but I'm hoping ANC should win. Yeah.
So you're still a staunch ANC supporter?
Yes, I am still and will forever be.
Why forever?
Because that's been the party I've been voting for, even if we know that sometimes they don't do things right, but we still have hope for them to do right things.
Do you think they'll be able to hold on to their power after this election?
I'm not sure, but I'm hoping so.
Some regional results may be available as soon as Thursday afternoon. But traditionally, official results are announced on the Saturday following the election. So this Saturday, May 11th, the winners will emerge. And for many, so will the fate of the nation.
Reporting from South Africa, I'm Priscilla Chulu for Eagle News, and I am one with 25.
A magnitude 7.2 earthquake hit Papua New Guinea on Tuesday, May 7, according to the USGS. Reports indicated the quake was felt in the nation's capital, Port Moresby, and Australia Bureau of Meteorology said it was also felt as far as in North Queensland. Our EBC correspondent from Papua New Guinea, Echo Hortaleza Quinola, reports from Port Moresby.
Just this morning, Papua New Guinea was hit by a powerful impact of magnitude 7.2 earthquake. The epicenter was found in East Papua New Guinea, but it was felt all the way in Port Moresby and far north Queensland, Australia.
The epicenter was 33 kilometers from the town of Bulolo, which has an estimated 16,000 population, and it is near Lae City with 76,000 residents, with 20% of which are Filipinos. The Moresby-based Disaster Management Office said that there had been no immediate reports of major damages or casualties.
Nagbe-breakfast po ako kasi papasok ako sa trabaho. At first, akala ko yung katabi ng room ko nagsusumba kasi magalaw. Kaya lang maraming mahaba na. Sabi ko, hindi na to normal na galaw. Lindol na to. Ayun, kaso, so to confirm, para kung talaga lindol, sumilip ako ng bintana. Wala nga pala mga buildings dito. So, ayun, hindi naman kalakasan, pero ramdam siya. Alam ko lindol kasi yung kick niya, ganun siya, may kick kasi gawa ng mga movements ng ng wall.
I was sitting at the couch, and then I felt the couch moving, but it didn't really hit me that it was the earthquake, so I didn't really mind. So I was sitting there just like sitting watching TV.
Reporting from Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, this is Echo Hortaleza Quinola, and I am one with 25.
A tragedy in Colorado. An 18-year-old student is shot dead and multiple others wounded. The incident happened near Columbine, where one of the worst gun massacres in the U.S. happened. Our ABC correspondent in the U.S., Marie Dumaya, reports from Denver.
Shortly before 2 p.m. local time, another shooting had happened in our schools here in the United States. This time, it was in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, a suburb of Denver, Colorado, 8 miles away from Columbine High School, where the Columbine High School shooting had happened in 1999.
As students at Colorado STEM School in Highlands Ranch at Douglas County were getting ready to leave for the day, 2 students opened fire in 2 different classrooms. This charter school serves kindergarten to 12th grade. Parents, grandparents, relatives of the students were anxious to know if their loved ones were safe. They were told to pick up the students at the nearby Highlands Ranch Recreation Center.
They didn't tell us anything. Nobody knows anything. It was a mess. It was chaotic.
They waited nervously for 3 hours before they were able to be reunited with their students.
All there, waiting for all these hours, and they didn't tell us who got shot. There's 8 kids got shot.
That's all you knew.
That's all we knew.
As their loved ones waited, the students were placed on lockdown, not knowing if the shooting was even real.
Everybody had a lockdown, so we waited in our classroom for a couple of hours until they announced that it was real. We heard the gunshots.
During the lockdown, teachers told the students to relax and that the security had everything under control. Their loved ones were more scared for them.
My head is so light, I don't know if I can drive.
Yeah.
I grabbed different keys to my car.
Yeah.
It's the longest moment in my life. It's the scariest one. all I could think of is I just keep praying, please God, let the kids be safe, I just, it's hard, so I didn't see them, I couldn't see them.
But this incident truly was too much for some kids to handle.
But mainly most of my classmates were kind of scared and lots of them were crying.
All other schools in Douglas County were also placed in lockdown. Even nearby buildings were placed in lockdown.
They said nobody was allowed to leave or enter the building, and at that point we started hearing sirens, so we all ran to the west side of the building where we could see the school, and there were cops all over the place.
From this incident, there were 8 shooting victims, all students, and according to the sheriff Twitter account, sadly, 1 student had been killed from this tragedy. 2 suspects, 1 adult male and 1 juvenile, were immediately confronted by Douglas County Sheriff Office as they entered the building. This quick response helped save lives. According to their Twitter account, the sheriff is working with the DA to get search warrants for suspects caught at their homes. As this story develops, the community is truly hoping that none of the other victims succumb to their injury.
From Highlands Ranch, Colorado, I'm Marie Maya for Eagle News. 1:55.
All right, to Finland now. Police there arrested a young man on charge of writing a threat note against a shopping center in the area of Espoo. Our EBC correspondent, Christina Kenanen, reports.
On April 30, 2019, an unknown person threatened to bring menace to a shopping mall in the city of Espoo. The said threat was posted on Tor. Police were aware about the threat and were on alert. According to Iltalehti, one of the largest newspapers in Finland, the police has in custody a young man that allegedly posted the threat. Residents nearby have shown their concern and sent their message regarding the issue. Roel Regualo said,
I think that is great thing that the suspect has been apprehended by now, but I think we should always be aware of what is happening in our surroundings and be vigilant at all times.
Melanie Stromberg, who recently visited Iso Omena shopping center, stated her feelings via WhatsApp. She said, and quote, "Even though there is a threat, I did not feel nervous. I felt safe, but you can count the people who were there. Very less. It's not crowded as usual." It is business as usual in Iso Omena, but the threat affected the numbers of shoppers in the mall. The said shopping mall is not closed for the public, but the police presence will be felt all throughout the shopping malls in Espoo City. This is Christina Sumawang Kinanan reporting from Finland for Eagle News.
All right, on a lighter note, a parade through Moscow's Red Square as Russia celebrated Victory Day on the anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II. Sunshine Bumanlag reports.
Then Pobedi or Victory Day is the most important occasions in whole Russia. This day where war ended between Germany and Soviet Union or USSR. And today will mark the 74th year anniversary.
Victory Day commemorates the surrender of Nazi Germany in 1945. Also the signing of the German instrument of surrender late in the evening on 8th of May 1945, 9th of May, Moscow time. The war ended, which lost about 25 million citizens in 4 years of fighting. People in Russia attend local military parade and watch the fireworks at night. The biggest parade is in Moscow Red Square. This is a massive parade through the center of Moscow.
С гордостью называю себя «Я суворовец». Покраска. выпускников. Более 115 выпускников Академии стали героями советского. На Красной площади желающих связать свою судьбу с российской армией. Мимо трибун проходят лучшие представительницы военной академии связи, курсанты военного университета и больше маршалов, свыше 600 генералов, более 100 выпускников училища и воинских частей российской бронетехники, танки Т-14 «Армата» и боевая машина поддержки. Возглавляет майор Денис Бушков.
While you are walking on the street, you may observe veterans wear their medals as they head to the parade. Another tradition, young people give them flowers as they pay respect to them. Red carnations, symbols blood red is the color of Soviet flag under which veterans had fought. Red Star Medal, a symbol of bravery. St. George ribbon, black and yellow color, is a sign of respect and remembrance. In addition, millions of people in Russia participate in the Immortal Regiment March after the Victory Parade, with portraits of family members who fought in World War. President Vladimir Putin delivered his 16th holiday address to the nation. He says, "We honor the memory of soldiers who secured this victory for us."
Товарищи солдаты и матросы, сержанты и старшины, мичманы и прапорщики, товарищи офицеры, коллективный отбор носителям смерти.
I am Sunshine Bumanlag, ABC Russia correspondent, and I am 1 with 25.
The territory of American Samoa celebrates Flag Day each year in April. The origin of this public holiday can be traced as far back as the 1900s, when the United States took control of the eastern half of the Samoan Islands. But it wasn't until 1960 when the Samoans adopted its own flag that is still in use today. This year, schools and other institutions throughout the South Pacific Territory continue to show pride in their unique culture and status. Eagle News correspondent Arian Torres Suan has more.
In a previous report from American Samoa, we highlighted the longboat race known as Fautasi, which served as the first day of series of events leading to the territory's Flag Day celebration. On the eve of the actual holiday, various groups showcased the Samoan culture through song and dance contests, before a jubilant crowd and a panel of judges. There were other moments when the audience was even invited to go up the stage and dance with the performers. High school student Ashley described her own costume.
My costume, I am wearing a Taupo attire. A Taupo is normally the daughter of the high chief, but in terms of performances in front of our island, it's usually the person that, a female, that a school, whoever decides to come and represent their school. In my case, I am the student body president, so therefore I am here as a Taupo representing my school.
High school teacher Leia shared her own experience about preparing for these events, which meant a lot of sacrifice and cooperation from students and fellow teachers.
The SGA and the NTHS were honored to be given the opportunity to represent Nuli Voltech although we want to take the whole entire school, the number is very limited to these specific festivities. So the leadership team and the administration have decided that the SGA and the NTHS would represent Nuli Voltec. So the SGA and NTHS was able to put away and excuse himself from the classes in order to prep for our festivity here at the Utulei Suingaulo La Tuvasa. So they were able to prep for 2 months so we could come and show pride not only in Nuli Voltec but as well as American Samoa.
The final and main event was the Flag Day Parade, which took place at the Tafuna Veterans Stadium. There, various schools, government agencies, private organizations, and even other countries took part as they marched before a large cheering crowd and several dignitaries at the grandstand. Finally, Leia and her fellow teachers indicated their promise to continue promoting Samoan culture pride to the younger generations.
Having the opportunity to teach the students, the performers, the Samoan cultural dances of the Ma'ulu'ulu, the Sasala Palapa, the Tawalunga, and also the Siva Ailawafi or the fire knife dances. Those are very traditional dances in the Samoan culture. And though we know that Flag Day also reflects a time to celebrate the years of American dominance and also taking care of us. So Flag Day also means Cultural Day. So Cultural Day means in the sense of dancing, we were able to teach the students those dances to feel the spirit of Flag Day and also having a strong pride, not in our school, but in their identity as Samoans, doing dances. Thank you.
From Pango Pango in American Samoa, I am Arian Torres Suwan, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Arian. Eagle News International will be right back. Stay tuned.
Health is our most important asset, and it should always be a constant effort to seek ways to take care of it. That includes professional medical help from the best available. The Manila Beijing Medical Associated Incorporated is known as one of the most specialized centers in medical services, backed by several experienced physicians in Chinese medicine. At an accuracy rate of 98%, countless patients who visited Manila Beijing Medical Associated Incorporated have already been treated and cured.
Marami po ospital na napuntahan, pero wala ring nangyayari. Somebody introduced me to Manila Beijing Medical Associated. After 2 treatments, gumanda ang pakiramdam ko.
My friends introduced me Manila Beijing Medical Associated, and luckily, I got cured. So I sincerely want to thank the doctors of Manila Beijing Medical Associated.
For the past 30 years, ang dami ko lang na-take na mga gamot. Nothing happened to me. So until one my friend introduced me to Manila Beijing Medical Associated, you know what? All my illness was cured.
For any health problems or incurable diseases, you can visit Manila Beijing Medical Associated Incorporated, located at 843B Sabino Padilla Street, Binondo, Manila.
Visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. the species that you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Business News, this is Cesar Vallejos. The Philippines may not be able to attain upper middle income country status by the end of the year given the economy's lackluster 5.6% performance in the first quarter and major headwinds that could dampen growth and incomes this year. Socioeconomic Planning Secretary Ernesto Pernia made this announcement during the news briefing on the National Income Accounts on Thursday. Pernia said, however, that the National Economic and Development Authority still needs to make the necessary computations. The country's GDP growth prospects are not as rosy this year. In the first quarter, the economy only grew 5.6%, slower than the 6.5% posted in the same period in 2018. The growth is also the slowest in 16 quarters, or since the first quarter of 2015 when growth was at 5.1%. That reaching UMIC status this year is now iffy because to achieve upper middle income country status, we're talking about gross national income or GNI, not GDP per capita. We'll have to do some calculations if we can still reach $3,980 per capita by this year, Pernia said. External headwinds such as the United States-China trade tensions, El Nino, high oil prices, and water shortage could further complicate the country's bid not only in terms of boosting economic growth this year, but also the attainment of UMIC status. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas on Thursday eased its monetary policy stance with a main policy rate cut, following an assessment of a further decline of both inflation and growth rates in recent months. A 25 basis point cut to its overnight reverse repurchase was made at its monetary policy meeting effective Friday, May 10, as broadly called for by markets. The interest rates on the overnight lending and deposit facilities were reduced accordingly. BSP Governor Benjamin Diokno told reporters that their decision to cut after several months of unchanged monetary policy stance and aggressive rate hikes in 2018 was based on their assessment that the inflation outlook continues to be manageable with easing prices pressures owing to the decline in food prices and improved supply conditions. Inflation, according to BSP Deputy Governor Diwa Kinigundo, is projected to fall further than earlier expected for this year, with their forecast now at 2.9% from the earlier 3% forecast about 2 months ago. The Deputy Governor said the reduction in their inflation forecast was based on the lower actual monthly inflation in the first 4 months of 2019, the lower growth for the year, lower cash supply growth, as well as the lower global growth for the year. Conglomerate San Miguel Corporation on Thursday said its net income fell 18% during the 3 months of the year as its food group and Petron Corporation dragged the company, citing the new tax slapped by the government on fuels and higher material costs. The company said its net income reached 12.82 billion pesos for the first 3 months ending March, down from 15.61 billion last year. Sales rose 7% to 250.92 billion from 234.34 billion pesos last year. The company said its fuels and oils and food businesses were pulled down by volatile global oil prices and higher raw materials costs. For its food business, the government's lifting of special safeguard duties against import surges led to an industry-wide oversupply and a significant decline in poultry prices. The rising cost of major raw materials, wheat, soybean meal, corn, and cassava was also a big factor, the company said. Petron lost 5% volume for its Philippine operations following the implementation of the train law. It said that by now, a total of around 450 pesos per liter in excise tax plus 12% VAT are carried by fuel prices. SMC President and COO Ramon S. Ang said, the slowdown in these businesses is temporary. We are not taking them lightly and we're seeing clear signs of recovery. We anticipate higher consumer spending from an improving economy, primarily the easing of inflation. The election season also usually brings us good results. We have implemented a good number of measures to recover lost ground and further strengthen our competitive positions in industries where we are in. U.S. President Donald Trump cranked up the heat in a trade battle with China on Friday, ordering a tariff hike on almost all remaining imports from the world's second biggest economy, but Beijing said talks would continue to resolve the row. After tweeting that 2 days of trade talks in Washington had been candid and constructive, the businessman turned politician changed tack and followed through on a threat he had been making for months. The president ordered U.S. to begin the process of raising tariffs on essentially all remaining imports from China, which are valued at approximately $300 billion, U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer said in a statement. The move came less than 24 hours after Washington increased punitive duties on $200 billion worth of Chinese imports, raising them to 25% from 10% days after the Trump administration accused Beijing of reneging on its commitments. Details on the process for public notice and comment will be posted Monday ahead of a final decision on the new tariffs, Lighthizer said. They were not expected to go into effect for several months. China's top trade negotiator, Vice Premier Liu He said, had warned earlier that Beijing must respond to any U.S. tariffs. Yang Delong, chief economist at First Seafront Fund Management in Shanghai, told AFP that the sudden hardening of Trump's tone is likely linked to the 2020 U.S. presidential election.
那么现在仅仅是贸易谈判中间的一个小的曲折我认为不应该过度的去解读，也不能放大它的影响。可能就是说这个美方希望中国在很多方面呢要做出一些更大的让步这些让步的话可能会损害到我们经济发展的一个根本，或者是影响到我们的这个体制的这个改革那这一方面的话呢，可能在这个核心利益上还是不能让步的。那么明年11月份呢，美国总统大选将会举行。那么现在其实特朗普已经开始为大选来造势、买选票，所以最近特朗普这个语气呢突然变得强硬，那么应该说和大选呢不无关系。那么特朗普对的，我认为呢，就是即使存在贸易摩擦，那么中国经济的发展也是势不可挡的。这一点呢不会受到贸易摩擦太大的这种干扰，可能影响的主要是中国的一些出口企业，而我们已经开始逐步的转向依靠内需的发展了例如像。
Dara Khosrowshahi, the CEO of Uber, rings the bell at the New York Stock Exchange as the ride-sharing company goes public.
It's a big day for Uber and certainly a big day for the New York Stock Exchange. There are many investors that are looking to invest in it, and so, you know, it's part of the wave of the future.
What's the most important thing today?
I think the most important thing is that we get back to business and we keep building.
In Colombia, a pair of Venezuelan artists paint portraits of iconic characters on Bolivar banknotes to revalue their country's beleaguered currency, making its worth, usually hammered by hyperinflation, jump higher than the US dollar.
Los extranjeros se impresionan porque, por ejemplo, yo a veces les explico, con el billete de más alta denominación del nuevo cono, no puedes comprar ni un cigarro en Venezuela, necesitas al menos 7 billetes para comprar un cigarrillo.
Para mí es la revalorización de la moneda, es una manera de protesta, una pequeña protesta que ayuda a que la moneda tenga un valor y no termine en la basura, por ejemplo.
Foodies are in for a treat in the French capital this weekend. For just 20 euros, visitors to the Taste of Paris Gastronomy Festival can sample the creations of some of the world's best starred or aspiring chefs, from Juan Arbelaiz's ceviche de cobia to Frederic Anton's Japanese pearl risotto with truffle. The event runs from May 9 to 12 at the Grand Palais.
Moi je dis toujours, qu'est-ce que le luxe ou qu'est-ce que sont les belles choses? C'est l'attention qu'on donne au produit dans sa transformation qui en fait un produit de luxe. D'accord? On peut prendre une carotte, d'un côté on va la cuire dans l'eau, pas salée, sans goût, et on va la manger comme ça. Et puis notre carotte que l'on va tailler, que l'on va faire revenir dans l'huile d'olive avec une petite gousse d'ail, on va assaisonner, on va mettre du bouillon de volaille, on va faire réduire, ça va être confit. Il se passe quelque chose. C'est l'attention du cuisinier ou dans n'importe quel métier qu'on donne au produit dans sa transformation qui en fait un produit de luxe.
Moi je pense qu'il y a un mouvement aussi qui est très moderne de faire des cuisines ouvertes, de s'approcher plus de son client. À l'époque, le cuisinier était un peu le graisseux, on le cachait, était derrière un mur. Aujourd'hui, on va de plus en plus vers l'avant, vers la scène. Ce qui est génial aussi, c'est avoir le retour en direct de notre client. Tu vois, il va goûter le plat, il va dire ah putain c'est génial, ça c'est top, j'ai kiffé ça, j'ai adoré. Enfin, c'est de la transmission, c'est de l'échange, c'est avoir nos clients au plus proche.
Half store, half museum, Apple's new location in the U.S. Capitol within a historic landmark is being described as the most ambitious project for its retail operations. Apple invited journalists Thursday to view the renovated Carnegie Library in downtown Washington, just blocks from the White House and Capitol building ahead of its public opening on Saturday. The project, launched in 2015, entailed a meticulous restoration of the marble facade 1903 building, originally designed as a public library and paid for by industrialist Andrew Carnegie, who died in 1919. Apple funded the renovation and will use one of the 3 floors for its retail store and education programs, with the remainder dedicated to local historical exhibits.
I think it is almost one of the greatest challenges to be part of a building's journey for, let's say, for a few years. These buildings might last hundreds of years, so as you are involved with a building, you have to do something which is very respectful with the old building, but on the other hand, give the building, help the building to go through the next phase of its life. This space that we're in is a beautiful historic space, and we renovated it painstakingly. You can see the words Shakespeare, Newton, exactly the way it was.
Apple declined to reveal how much was spent on the renovation, which was reported to cost more than $30 million. Located in the city's Mount Vernon Square, the building will reopen with a research library, 3 galleries, and a museum store owned and operated by the Historical Society of Washington. And that's it for Business News. This is Cesar Vallejos. I'm one with 25. Eagle News International will be back. Stay with us.
Cancer survivors, families, dental professionals run for awareness. Here's Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmot for the report.
Moved by a desire to raise oral cancer awareness and garner support, the crowd behind me will run, some will walk 5 kilometers alongside survivors, family and friends this Saturday morning here at the Dennis Liger Avenue Park in Silver Spring, Maryland.
I am here because my friend Veronica told me about the 5K, about oral cancer awareness, and as a hygienist that we are, I think it's very important for our patients to let them know how to go and do the intraoral exam maybe themselves, and then we do that in our offices too, and let them know if we see anything that is suspicious, and make them aware. There are patients that smoke and or chew tobacco and stuff like that, and they're not aware of how dangerous it can be in their mouth.
We can help the patient if we can see something suspicious. So I decided to do this. It's the first time for me. I'm also a dental hygienist invited by them, and I thought it would be a good idea, one, to donate the money for a cause that doesn't seem to be out there. Most people are not aware that oral cancer can be on the rise just from the consequences of secondhand smoking, chewing tobacco, and so forth. Yeah, so I thought it'd be nice to come out, support it, not just donate money.
It's about to start.
Okay.
It supports early detection and awareness about oral cancer, screenings for the dental community to get patients screened often and diagnose the issue early. We want to make sure that people are aware of the disease, and if they see something that is suspect in their oral cavity, to have it checked out early and make sure that they get treatment early, and therefore they don't have any long-standing issues like my husband did, unfortunately. My husband was diagnosed in 1997 as a stage 4 oral cancer patient. It had metastasized to his lymph nodes in his neck, and that's how he found it. The primary tumor was on his tonsil, so if anybody had been looking for it at the time, it would have been very visible in the oral cavity. Unfortunately, his dentist did not see it. I think anything that you can do to bring awareness for the disease is key. So we do upwards of 30 of these events a year around the country. This is just one, and the Hoffman family started this particular walk 5 years ago, and this is just another year on top of that, taken over by someone else to keep the disease on everybody's forefront.
Just raise awareness, I guess, for something I didn't know about until it happened to someone so young, so it's kind of shocking. So I think it's a good cause.
Well, I'm a dedicated runner, I guess, first and foremost, but I also relate to the cause because I've had oral cancer. So I was diagnosed with stage 3 oral cancer. I'm fully recovered and in good health now. And I think any event like this that has a name to it, I think raises awareness. I think raising awareness any way you can, and I think this is a great way to do that.
The most important part is education and prevention. Early awareness, early detection, that's how lives are saved.
Reporting from the DMV Oral Cancer Walk and Run here in Silver Spring, Maryland, I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmot for Eagle News, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Eliza. And with that, we end tonight's program. I'm Alma Angeles, always 1 with 25. Good night.